Hello everyone, welcome to Amani's Lightwork Keys to Akasha section of my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. It's great to have you here. If you've been here from the beginning of time, I truly appreciate your continuous love and support. Okay, so before I begin with the reading I'm going to be doing today, I just want to give a little back history into this section of my channel. Everything that is covered here is solely based on channeling and interpretation. That implies that I am using my ability and the aid of spirit to get the readings done. Okay, if you have an inquiry about this section of my channel, you can send me an email to iavakasha108@gmail.com or a direct message to my Instagram at AmaniFaith777. Okay, so I cover missing persons reports here, celebrity passings, celebrity news, and politics in general. Okay, so if you have any inquiries along those lines, you're more than welcome to contact me directly for information. All right, so today I'm going to be covering Michelle Avan's case. I believe she was an executive to Bank of America. Okay, she was a top executive, very well known, very renowned, I should say, in her community. She was living in Reseda, California at the time of her passing, and the claim was that she was brutally murdered by an ex-boyfriend that may have been stalking her or taunting her. It just depends on what the article was saying. I don't know much about her personal life or her finances, but we'll find out to see what's going on. I will look to see what was taking place in the days leading up to her passing as well. Okay, she was born June 11, 1973. She passed away August 14 of 2021. Okay, all right. Okay, so her energy is saying, I knew everything. And knowing everything could be, I'm also getting this idea of who had access to her accounts. Someone may have had access to, it could be like a trust fund that she had for her children. It could be a trust fund that she had for herself that may have been left to her by her parents. Some type of compensation that somebody had access to. So if she had an account, or she could have had more than one account, wherever she left her money, somebody external that she didn't necessarily give that individual access to those accounts, they managed to find access into those accounts. So that's one element about it. Knowing everything could also be an agenda that someone in her workplace had. Knowing everything could also be, her partner, her ex. Somebody could have known everything. They could have been, she knew everything. Like, she knew someone may have been following her. She knew someone was accessing her credit cards or her accounts. She knew, I'm getting the idea of being stalked. She knew she was being stalked by somebody. So it just depends on what's going on. Okay. Now, what's interesting as well too. That's strange to me, is the access into her home. But I'm going to do it in chronological order so that I can pick up what's going on with her. Okay. High Priestess energy is here. Now, she was a Gemini, and I deem air sign elements to, have that be naturally intuitive signs, okay, based on her own birth chart, Gemini energy, period. But the High Priestess is here because she could have been using her intuition about something happening in her neighborhood or a particular individual in her neighborhood. I'm being drawn to the lawn. Like, I don't know if she had like a front lawn or like a back lawn, a backyard, a front lawn. Something's going on there. You know what's interesting? I don't know if this is something that she did, but I'm being drawn to the idea of, when you go up to, she lived in her own private house, but it's like, there's a situation, sometimes people leave keys underneath pots. You know how people, like, if, like the spare key, I get a mistake. So she could have done something like that before, or she put it in her mailbox, she put it underneath, she could have put a spare key. I would say an envelope. I'm getting this idea of an envelope. Now, an envelope meaning something important was coming for her in the mail. An envelope could have been underneath something that was on her front step, or she kept a spare key in her mailbox, or she kept a spare key underneath a pot, like a flower pot in front of her home. Something's going on with the front lawn, so she kept something really private, but something that she kept private, she pretty much kept out in the open, and that has something to do with a key. That also has something to do with an envelope of some kind. That's one element about it. The High Priestess could also be using her intuition about something in her neighborhood or someone in her neighborhood, someone on her block or someone that lived on her block. But I get this idea of like a group. Like, there could have been a group of people that they could have lived down the street from her, they could have lived across from her, but I'm getting this idea of a group. Like, a group could be referring to individuals in her workplace, like a corporate group, or a group that she lived by, or there could have been a group that she was a part of, and somebody from that group did something, or someone, I gotta plan the heist. So when I hit that, somebody from a group external from her, if she's not a part of the group, they plan the heist on her. Like, somebody may have been really keeping tabs on the moves that she was making every day. So before I move any further, and before I put any cards down, she may have been leery. She may have had this eerie feeling that she knew that someone may have been following her, or somebody knew that she kept something really important in her mailbox, or something really important that she could have been looking for was in her mailbox, or she kept a key, like a spare key to her home, or like her back door, her front door. She kept that like in a flower pot, or like under it, some area of her front step. She kept something there, and somebody watched what she was doing with that, like every day. And like a group of people, so there's like a group of people that lived on her block, they lived across from her. I had a couple of dudes. There was a couple of dudes that they lived in her area, or they were just around, or they watched her, something like that, which is really interesting. The starting point has the Princess of Dis energy. The Princess of Dis would be someone that's younger than her. This could also be they could be the energy of her daughter. Her daughter doesn't necessarily have to be a younger earth sign. Her daughter could show up like this, or a co-worker could be showing up like this. Someone in the neighborhood could be showing up like this. They're in the starting point. They could also be a friend that's younger, whoever the Princess of Dis energy is. It just depends on what's going on. I'm being drawn to her ex. I don't know if her ex had any children, or she had any. Well, her ex, she may not have been with the father of her children. I think I think she's got like 2 or 3 children, 2 kids. But the father, the father of those children, okay, the father of her two children, her biological children, she may not have been involved with. That's one element about it. Or her ex, like her ex-boyfriend. I feel this idea that she may have been involved with 2 or 3 different men. And she may have been involved with 2 or 3 different men. One of those men is the father to her children, like her grown children that she has. And then she had an ex, like a boyfriend that, I get 2 involved. She had her ex-boyfriend was 2 involved, either with her and her children, or they were 2 involved with her finances, or they were 2 involved, however you want to look at 2 involved, like they were 2 involved in her personal life, But I get this feeling of asking her children questions. Like, she had an ex that was asking her children questions. So using her intuition with the high priestess, like her daughter, if this energy is her daughter could have been coming to her, the ex's name was what? Anthony, Dwayne something. That individual, the daughter could have been coming to her and saying, why is he asking me? I also get tax. Why is he asking me for your tax documentation? Why is he asking me for your tax information? So if this energy is her daughter could have been coming to her and asking her. No, her daughter could have been coming to her and telling her that he was asking for her tax documentation. That's one. I also happened with a coworker, something like that. If it's not only the daughter, Princess of Discs could be showing up here as someone who's embodying the energy of a coworker. So a coworker could have been coming up to her and asking her for some type of tax document or tax information. Or they were asking for that in regards to an ex that she has. The ex meaning the father of her children, ex meaning someone that she was dating, like in a long-term relationship with. So that's a daughter that's coming to her. The daughter's coming to her and the daughter is asking why is he asking for this? Or Princess of Dis is coming to her directly and asking her that she works with. They're asking her for some type of tax documentation. But yet to use. So her daughter wanted to use that for her, to add on. Like the daughter, I don't know how old the daughter and the son are, but they may have needed her information to file taxes for something that they do or they're involved in. And something's going on with a co-worker needed it for herself. Like it's a female co-worker that needed some type of debt. But what's interesting? It has a lot to do with making more than someone. She made more than this individual. She made more than them. So they may have felt the need to come to her directly to ask for her own tax documentation because she made more. But she could have been combining her information with Michelle's, or Michelle combined. Okay, I understand what's going on. Tax document wise, tax information wise, Michelle could have been combining Michelle made more money than this individual. But one reason Michelle made more money than this individual is because Michelle combined her taxes or tax documentation with the Princess of Dis energy that's a co-worker. But it made them angry. So when I said that Michelle made this individual angry, this individual made Michelle angry. So making Michelle angry would mean because Michelle made more than them, they felt the need to use Michelle's information. That's making Michelle angry. Making them angry would mean that Michelle made more and still used this energy's tax document information. And that could be how I get a bonus. That could also be how Michelle was making bonuses or Prince of Dis energy was making bonuses in the workplace. Somebody got really angry there. The Death card energy is here, a sign of Scorpio. So the Death card with the intuition with the Princess of Dis, I get stalk. They may have been stalking her. They ended up stalking her, or they set up someone to stalk her. It depends on what's going on. I don't know if she necessarily did this to this individual. I don't know if she did that to them. I don't know if they set up someone to follow her around. But I'm being drawn back to the envelope. So I get a threat. The envelope that the spirit was talking about from the beginning. The envelope has something to do with a threat. A princess of this energy was sending Michelle some type of threat, but I get a disguise. So they're not putting their name. Obviously, if it's a threat, if it's threat related, they're not putting their identification, or they're not writing their signature. They're not writing their name on an envelope that includes a threat. Right? They're not doing that. I don't know if she did that to someone. I had wanted to. She may have wanted to do that to somebody because something's going on. She may have wanted to do so. Right? She may have wanted to. This individual ended up doing that. But the spirits also tell me they're tied to an ex. So either what's happening here with her, with this person, is that they're a direct co-worker. That's one. Her direct co-worker was involved. I also get husband. She had a co-worker that was involved intimately with her husband. Like, she could have been married at one point. And then it's either that, ex could be ex-husband, ex could be boyfriend. This energy was involved with her ex-husband or her ex-boyfriend. Like, she was dealing with 2 or 3 other men. Like, she was once married, and she was dating 2 or 3 other men. And she was also married, and they could be the new partner. This energy showing up like the energy of a new partner that one of those men is dealing with, and they are dealing with her in terms of like their co-worker that she either found out or she didn't know was intimately involved with like an ex-husband or an ex-boyfriend. So they're coming to her and ask for tax documentation for themselves, or they needed to give to her, Michelle's ex-man, one of those men. This energy is trying to get that for, so that the ex-husband or the ex-boyfriend can file taxes with her information, with Michelle's information. But it also benefits the princess of this. So before I move any further, she's got a co-worker involved with her exes. The co-worker is coming to her asking for tax documentation. She's not giving up her tax documentation to give to her. This individual's involved with them, the exes, intimately, and the exes are going through this individual to ask Michelle for the tax documentation so that they can file taxes in her name along with the princess of this. That's why the high priestess energy is underneath. Right? But the death card energy is here. She could have been dealing with a sign of Scorpio. Or it's death card because of knowledge. I get what she's up to. It's knowledge because of what a princess of this energy. She knows that a princess of this energy is up to something, or she was up to something, that resulted in her passing. Whatever it is that ended up happening. The Ten of Wealth energy is there, but there was an envelope with a threat in it. It could have been a threatening letter. It could have been a threatening picture. Like, somebody could threaten someone with a picture inside of an envelope. The picture could have been okay, I'll give you a morbid example. The picture that somebody put in an envelope and got sent to her mailbox, the picture could have had, like, I know it sounds crazy, the picture could have had, what's the situation? A skull on it or something. I don't know. I'm looking at the death card energy, and the ribs are exposed. The ribs are exposed. So someone could have been sending her a picture of something crazy, like a picture, a letter, a note, whatever it is. That's why the death card energy is there. But scary. She was scared, or something that someone did send her through her mailbox that scared the shit out of her. That really scared her. But the Ten of Pentacles for money. What's happening is that it's happening here because of money. Like, what she experienced with that individual is because of money, or what they were asked to do on her. But it has something to do with money. Her money that she was making, her tax information that an ex-husband wanted, that an ex-boyfriend wanted. They're dating, or they're just dealing with a princess of this energy that's from her job. They're dealing with a friend. They're dealing with a co-worker. But yet news didn't cover. So as I'm talking about it, the news didn't cover that. Right when I hit that note, the news didn't cover something there. The news didn't cover, I get shady co-worker. The news didn't cover the fact that she had a shady co-worker that was threatening her. The shady co-worker was threatening her through someone else. The shady co-worker was threatening her directly by doing something on her front porch, like putting something in, hooking up someone to put something in her mailbox, Or they were disguised, they physically went up to her home and put something in the mailbox. Or they did something with like a spare, something is really important about a spare key. So Michelle herself, either kept a spare key and put it in a really weird place where someone was watching where she was putting it. Or somebody could have, someone could have made copies of her keys. Somehow, like she could have been at work and she could have been physically in the office, like a hybrid. She could have been physically in the office and somebody went through her bag. Somebody went through her bag and found her house keys and made a copy, took the keys somehow and made a copy of the keys. Death card energy there. She could have been complaining, like there could have been a situation where she was in the workplace and she also got a cleaner. Something's going on with cleaning, or someone cleaning like the office, like a person cleaning the office, like a what do you call it? Somebody cleaning like her office for her when she stepped away, like a cleaner, like a like a custodian or something. Someone who cleaned the building, cleaned the offices. But I get switched. So when I said someone who cleaned the building, cleaned the offices, they switched something. Like they switched her keys. Or they did something with her keys. I don't know what they did. They did something with some type of pair of keys that she had. So it could be keys to her home, keys to her office. Somebody made copies. Somebody could have found a way to make copies of her tax documentation. This energy could have found a way to make copies of her tax documentation because she refused to share it or give it up or do something with it. Or give back a portion of what she made with someone's information, or they refused to do that with her. They refused to give, that's why the Ten of Pentacles energy is here. They refused to give back that they stole. They refused to give back a portion of money that they did steal from her. And then there's also another situation with a custodian or someone who cleans offices, and they clean buildings. Somebody that cleaned. So somebody that was clean, this energy could be someone that was cleaning. There could have been, I don't know if she had a cleaner, like, if this isn't the office, I don't know if she had, like, a housekeeper in her home. She could have had a housekeeper, I get annoyed. She could have had a housekeeper that was annoyed by something. And, okay, I understand. So if this energy isn't only a coworker, they could also be the energy of a housekeeper. Like a housekeeper was annoyed with something going on with pay. Like she made more money than this individual. The housekeeper could have been annoyed because she may have been underpaid. The housekeeper could have had children. That's why there's kids in the card. The housekeeper had kids. The coworker had kids. If it's a house cleaner, the house cleaner, it needs to be like something needs to happen with the house cleaner. Like they need to be questioned. Like a house cleaner may need to be questioned. They need to be found first. They need to be found first before they can even get questioned. But I get this feeling of social media. Like they may be on social media watching what's going on with her, what's happening, what they're talking about in reference to her. In reference to her. But it's a house cleaner. Like a house cleaner felt underpaid. So because a house cleaner felt underpaid, they're threatening Michelle with like letters and notes and decapitated and mutilated pictures of like animals or something crazy, skulls. They're putting pictures of those things in her mailbox. I feel like, what's interesting? If something like that that was an example that could literally have been happening to her. She could have been getting emails and people were sending pictures like that to her. Or if somebody physically did it, like they put pictures and threatening notes in her mailbox. So a house cleaner did that. Or someone's going shady with a coworker being connected to her exes. They did something like that. But the reason is because I get two different issues. The spirit is saying she suffered two different issues, possibly with 2 or 3 different people. She suffered an issue with a coworker and payments with a coworker, compensation with a coworker. She suffered a situation with a house cleaner, and the house cleaner is feeling underpaid. The house cleaner may have had kids, That's why the death card is in the waiting position. Like the house cleaner could either be a princess of this, co-worker was a princess of this, Then you have the sign of Scorpio energy that's here as well, or just Death card energy because of what she's realizing or who she found. She could have been in a situation where she was starting to find out who was sending the threats. She did or she did not. It just depends on what's going on. Future has the Two of Peace, Two of Swords. That's her energy. And then the Instincts has the Ten of Oppression. If there's jail, I don't like this card because there's a black male on this oppression card. But yeah, she may have been dealing with a black male that is now people are threatening that are saying that they're getting indicted. They should that they're being set to go to jail. You know what I mean? That they're being set to go to jail. The ex is being set to go to jail. But again, it's their partner. So when I said the ex, yes, it was her partner. But it's this, when I started talking about the ex, the spirit said it's their partner. Something is going on with the ex's partner. Not necessarily the ex, but the ex's partner. Like a woman, it could even be a dude, could be a Scorpio. I don't know what the ex's birthday is. I don't know what the guy's birthday is necessarily, but something's going on with his ex, with his partner that he had that is a woman, or they're a man. Like partner as in business partner or love partner. And it's shown up here like a princess of this. I get friends. So it's the princess of this energy friends. A co-worker could have sicked her friends on her. And the ex is involved in that as well, because it's like there's multiple people involved here. It's not just one person. There's multiple people involved there. Like there's a co-worker. She's got a co-worker that's involved with the ex. The co-worker then has, that's why I was getting this idea of a group. It could be like a group, it's a group matter. Like there's more than one people, meaning that there was a group of people that ended up going after her for multiple reasons, like underpayment or taking money, taking taxes and having more, whatever it was. Or it's just the ex wanted money and she may not have, obviously they're an ex, they're not going to benefit from something that she's making anymore. So they're going to go through their new partner to then taunt her. That new partner is then tied to a group of dudes that I get mugged. That new partner that an ex has is tied to a group of dudes that mugged her. They mugged her, right? Princess of this. Ten of Wands energy and the Instincts. Ten of Wands energy and the Instincts. Right? It's a Ten of Wands. So I feel like for someone to be brutally beaten, there would have been more than one dude. I can't imagine a female doing that. That would be crazy. But, I mean, women are like that too. But I can imagine it's who they sent. I'm looking at the Princess of this. It has something to do with who they sent to her home. Who they sent to her home. But that person is tied into the ex somehow. So either it feels the ex, one ex that she had. She could have 2 or 3 different ex that she was dealing with. One of them feels in fault. One of them is like, they feel in fault, but they may not have necessarily initiated the charge. They may not have they may not have necessarily initiated a group of people to go attack and mug her. It's a chain reaction. So who they're tied to is finding those who they're tied to is finding a group of people to then go and get into her home somehow. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's like a threat that once started with a mailbox threat. Like it started off with a mailbox threat, a cleaner and keys. Oh, okay, I understand. So if she's in a home with a housekeeper, I'll give you one example like this. If she was in a home with a housekeeper with her keys, I get stepped out. She could have stepped out. The house cleaner could have made a copy of the key and put it underneath. Okay, the house cleaner Jesus Christ, there's a lot going on. The house cleaner made a copy of her house key, made a copy of Michelle's house key, and put the key in the mailbox, put the key underneath a pot or something that she had on her front step that's underneath something. So I had a plan. It was a plan. They put it underneath something or somewhere where, like, thieves, somewhere where thieves can find it. Or it was put in a mailbox and they went in there and then attacked her. That's how they were able to get inside. Like, it's a house cleaner. It had to have been someone. There was no other way. There had to have been someone. Like, that's why I was getting that energy from the beginning. I always see movies and things where people keep, like, spare keys underneath pots. You don't know who the hell is watching you behind your damn back. You don't know who's watching you behind your back, and somebody goes and they're putting keys underneath, like, pots and plants and in mailboxes that are visible. Someone can see that. I keep getting the house cleaner is ringing in my mind for some. It's a house cleaner, like, but the house cleaner is interconnected to someone in her job, or the house cleaner is interconnected to the ex. The house cleaner is connected to somebody that she was dealing with that was angry that she was getting paid more than they were. Wow. Knight of Disc energy, the gourmet chef. So I don't know if she, she was making good money. She could have had a personal chef. The Knight of Disc energy could also be her son, or the Knight of Disc could be a male co-worker. They're right next to the Princess of Disc. But I didn't knew what she was planning. So a Knight of Disc would be like a Taurus male, a Capricorn male, a Virgo male, right next to the Princess of Disc energy. Like the Knight of Disc knew what a Princess of Disc energy was planning. They knew what she was planning, or she knew what they were planning. It could be them. But it helped each other. These two energies helped each other. So one is a co-worker. I keep getting involved with ex. If there's a co-worker that was involved with her ex, then there's a co-worker that may have been interacting with another co-worker, or her ex. This energy could be the energy of her ex. It just depends on what's going on. People were helping each other here. Then I get something about night. Yes, it happened that night, or something was like a nightmare. I don't know why that was. It just shoot that through to me just now. Like nighttime. Like it happened at nighttime, or they discussed that her mugging would happen at night. Like they discussed that this would occur at night. It would occur at night. The spirit emphasizing the idea of the group from earlier, like it could have been one person. It could have been one person that did do that to her, but the spirit emphasizing the group was that a group of people planned it to happen to her. But one person could have been set out to do what they did, So then there's like a house cleaner, and something's going on interesting with a house cleaner. I get paid. The house cleaner could have been paid to do something as well too. The house cleaner could have been paid to watch her temporarily step out of the home, take the keys, and make a copy of the key. But I get to not make something obvious. Like, that happened there like that, to not make something obvious. So that happened to her in her workplace. Somebody switching keys or making copies of keys or documentation. Or, like, she stepped out of her home to run an errand, but she could have left the keys. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. She could have happened in her house with the house cleaner. She's telling the house cleaner, I'm going on the street real quick. I'm just leaving the door unlocked. I just need to go and handle something really quickly. And the house cleaner has the key. The house cleaner has the key, and somebody was either waiting to make a copy of the key that the house cleaner took, or the house cleaner could have run off somewhere that already had a copy. The house cleaner already had a copy, so she herself could have been responsible for why the house cleaner had their own copy. Of course, like if she's working with someone, like she expects someone to clean her home that she seemingly trusts. So she's going to then give that person a copy of that key. And they took the key and gave it to somebody, or they took a spare key that she had. So Michelle either made a copy for the house cleaner, or Michelle had a spare key to her home that the house cleaner knew where it was, and the house cleaner gave it to somebody. You know what's interesting? The house cleaner The house cleaner may feel in fault, or the house cleaner may not have known what was going on. The house cleaner could have also been approached by an ex. The house cleaner could have been approached by a coworker, and they could have bribed the house cleaner to do something specific, whatever it was. So even if the house cleaner felt underpaid, the house cleaner could have then been paid through a bribe. The house cleaner could have been paid through a bribe. So that's happening on the day of her passing or days leading up to her passing. Well, let's see. The Ace of Discs is here in the spiritual self right next to the Death card energy. Yeah, I mean, it's Ace of Discs. It's a job that she was in. I don't know if she had more than one job, or she may have been on the verge of getting into a new one. She may have been looking for a new one at the time of her death. Death card right next to the Ace of Discs. Death card to her starting a new job because she was taken. She was taken out. You know, Ace of Discs. Or she considered the job that she was in to be new. Like, this is happening and I get a promotion. Like, this is happening because of a promotion that she experienced. Someone around her may have been thinking that they were supposed to be promoted and they did not get a promotion. You know? Someone may have wanted to be promoted that was around her that did not get promoted, but she got promoted. She got promoted. But I keep getting this idea of taking taxes. Like, somebody deemed her getting promoted to be taking away their taxes from them. So that's an excess thought. That's another I also get an assistant. That was an assistant's thought. That's an excess thought. Somebody deemed her to be taking taxes or a tax increase away from them. Somebody deemed that to be happening. Because she got promoted, or she, at the time of her death, she could have just gotten promoted. I mean, she was an executive. That's one of the highest, that would be one of the highest, that's the highest ranking to reach. So she was promoted to executive. And it's with her getting promoted to executive, that caused problems. It caused problems with exes and coworkers that felt like, or an assistant that felt, I also get betrayed. So when I hit an assistant that she had, they felt betrayed either by her or by a corporation because of pay, because of taxes, whatever it is. The mentality has a Six of Cups. Six of Cups energy, water sign returning from the past, could be a Scorpio returning. Scorpio could be someone in her family, I don't know. Somebody there was whatever's going on. The Six of Cups energy would be something like the Ten of Wands. 10 of oppression with the Six of Pleasure would be like a burden that she's thinking that she ended up experiencing with someone coming back from the past. Somebody that she could have been dealing with on the side could have been like a jailbird. Like, she could have been I don't know if she was dating someone that was once incarcerated, or like they had someone that she once dated, one of the exes that she was dealing with, one of them was incarcerated before. For fraud. So someone was incarcerated before for fraud. Some type of fraudulent behavior. Something fraudulent going on with their own workplace. Or the ex worked with her, yes. But they were dealing with another female partner. And something is fraudulent there. But it's tax related. Like, all of it is tax related, and it's compensation increase related. Somebody wanted tax documentation. Somebody wanted an increase to their pay. They weren't getting an increase to their pay. The ex, somebody's dealing with another female that she's working with directly. Prince of Disc could be shown up there like an assistant, or the Knight of Disc. One of them, I keep getting this idea of helped each other. The princess and the knight, they were helping each other. They helped each other. They were helping each other figure out what happened here. The Five of Disappointment is in the changing position. So 5 sign of a disappointment. She may not have been experiencing grief anymore. That could be, grief. It would be in her waking life grief, or like Five of Cups Scorpio, or something with family. Something could have been going on with her family members. Something could have been happening with her family members and money. Something could have been happening with that. You know what I mean? Or something could have been going on with a payment for her home. I don't know if something's going on with a payment for her home, or how she got a payment for her home. Right? So if she did receive an increase so that she could pay off a house, that it wasn't with her information. So when I said that she could have received a payment for her home, but it wasn't, she made some type of payment that wasn't with, she didn't use her information to make the payment. She could have used an ex's information to make the payment, or an ex used her information to make some type of payment on a home or a car. Or that's something that a coworker did. Or the coworker is intertwined with the ex. The ex was a coworker, or the husband, and something's going on with their partner and making payments with her information. Like if it's a husband, the ex-boyfriend, their partner that she either worked with or she didn't work with, they needed to make payments on their home or their car with her information. They used her documentation to make the payments. So I don't know if she did that to someone. Like I don't know if she could have. She could have been doing something like that for some time, and someone didn't know, or they knew and they didn't want her to do it anymore, or they did that to her and she didn't know, something like that, or she knew, and she could have been trying to fight it. Like she could have been on the verge to taking someone to court. She could have been on the verge. I get this idea of like a lover. The spirit is telling me something about a lover, or like her ex-partner's lover, or a lover that she could have had a new partner and they were tied to someone. They could have been tied to someone. She could have been dating someone new that they're not talking about. Not the ex. Like she could have been dealing with someone new intimately, and something's going on with that individual, their partner that they had on the side, like a younger girl or a guy, love partner or business partner, that someone she's dealing with that's new. I keep getting this feeling like the news is not covering something here. The news is not covering something here. Like they're shadowing something, like details. The news is shadowing details. They're slapping on the murder claim onto the ex-boyfriend, but they're not giving any details of who the ex-boyfriend was tied to, or who her current partner was tied to, whether that's for love or business. There's people that both of those, or however many of those individuals are tied to, that are causing problems, in addition to something going on with a house cleaner, or something that a house cleaner was asked to do, or something that a house cleaner saw. So if a house cleaner wasn't necessarily asked to do anything, they just saw something, or they heard something. They saw or heard something. They could have seen a conversation happening outside of the house. I think before she left. So that happened before she left the house. That happened before she left the house, one day before she passed. So they said she passed, like she was found on the 14th of August. The 14th of August. 10 of Wands, 10 of Wands could be October. They are now working out a situation where they're about to throw the ex-boyfriend in jail. That's one element about this. 10 of Pentacles could also be October, but I get a payout. So somebody may receive a payout. So that could be a family member that's going to receive a payout. Her children may receive some type of money that was hers, or somebody that she was working with. People that she was working with may receive a payout. That's why the 10 of Pentacles energy is here as well too. Or she herself received a payout for doing something really interesting. She could have received a payout from somebody that she may not have been supposed to, or they weren't supposed to receive that. So that's happening. That happened before her passing, or it's happening. It's going to happen. No, she passed after. Like somebody's in the process of doing that. You know. Wow. Resolution. Let's see. The resolution has the universe. I consider the universe to be the sign of Capricorn. That could be a Capricorn. That could be a Capricorn, or it's a Taurus. There's, it's Earth sign, all Earth sign, male or female, somebody along those lines. So that's the children. The children are, she needed things for her children, but something's going on with co-workers that they're shown up here like Earth sign. Like Earth signs are also shown up here as business partners to exes that she was dealing with. Their love partners to exes she was dealing with. One of them, it was an assistant to her. An assistant, and however many exes, 2 exes. What was coming through was the energy of an ex-husband, not a boyfriend, an ex-husband, meaning possibly the husband to the children, and then something's going on with the ex-boyfriend. Those 2 energies have partners, or it's the ex-boyfriend's new partner that they're intertwined with her job. So there's someone that she may have been seeing every day that she just knew was dealing with her husband, her ex-husband. She knew was dealing with her partner, her ex-partner. And they're having issues with pay. Right? The universe in the resolution will be that something is culminating. Like 5 of Cups, something that could be her spirit, or I know who she had attached to her. The universe is also who she had attached to her. Yes, universe, if you want to look at it in a way, she was universally tied to different corporations. She was involved in the community. She was involved. That's why I was getting from earlier on. There were too many people. There was too much of something. Too many people, too much of something. You can never have too much money, but sometimes with too much money, that brings problems. Too much people, too many partners, too many exes. Like, people consider their exes to be completely gone when they let go of them, but that's not always the case, especially when money is involved, especially when they used to work with them. Once you work with someone that you're dating, they will forever have access to. Once you date someone that you work with, my bad, that's wrong side. Once you decide to date someone that you work with, they will forever, and you break it off with them, that doesn't mean that they won't have access to your information. So they will always have access to her information. Or they will always have access to her information. Always have it. That's not going anywhere. Once you date someone that you're working with. 2 of Swords energy, the 2 of Peace, her spirit may be at peace, she is resting in peace. 2 of Swords in the future. Or 2 of Swords, she may not have known what to do. But I keep getting, now I'm being drawn back to the idea of locks. Like, she may not have known what to do about a lock on her door. Like, there could have been a situation, it's giving me that idea of the keys. There ended up being a situation, like I said, she stepped out in the keys and something happened. She may have, I understand. She may have been unable to lock her door. She may have been unable to lock her. I don't know if she had somebody living with her or staying with her, or it's a housekeeper. They did something. Or someone could have been in her home with her and they stepped out and they did something. Somebody that was in the house with her. It could be like a Knight of Disc or Scorpio. Someone she had by. I don't know if she had her children by and they left and something happened to the door. Or she was home alone. Somebody could have visited her. Like she could have been visited by someone or somebody's. Somebody could have came by early in the day, or it's a housekeeper that she had. Or the spirit is just saying that a housekeeper did something by accident, or they were asked to do something, or something was intentional with a housekeeper. Something could have been intentional with a housekeeper. Whatever it was. But it's like she could have tried to lock her door, and I also get realizing something with the Death card energy. She could have tried to lock her door and maybe it wasn't locking. I'm trying to think how else somebody can get in the house. Like locking the door and locking it and not being able, I was like turning a knob, like she could have seen the knob turning, or it's like, I would say confusion. The Two of Swords energy was confusion she experienced with being in the house. And she's like in the home, and somebody is like, the door is turning, like the knob is turning, and she could have been like, oh, I thought I locked the door, but it's not. It ended up not being locked, or it was partially locked. Or something was just wrong with the lock. But the whole idea of it is that somebody did something somebody switched something with the key. Somebody could have switched something with the key, or something happened to the lock. Somebody did something to the lock. Someone was asked to do something to the locks or the keys. So she's in her home, and she's seeing the knob is turning. Like she's looking at the knob is turning. The knob is turning. You know? Somebody aggressively came in. Whoever it was that they aggressively came into her home. But as I'm saying aggressively came into her home, I'm getting the ex's partner. So the ex's partner could be a man. The ex is being, the ex would need to be arrested. Some ex that she had, somebody she was dealing with intimately, their partner could be a Knight of Discs or a Princess of Disc. But I feel like, I can't see a woman doing something like that. I could deal, like a Knight of Discs would be partner. The Knight of Discs, one Knight of Discs energy shown up here like a partner that she had, like a love partner or a business partner, or they're the ex. But I get two men. So there's a Two of Swords in the future. It's two men. There's two men. They're two men. One of them could have been the ex, or they're two men that are just tied to her partner, like a current one or an ex. There's two men attached to them that they are entering her home. There's two men there. Two. That's why the Two of Swords in the future. Two men, not just one, there's two. There's two men. 10 of Wands, 10 of oppression. Right? But I'm getting this question. I thought I locked. Like she could have asked herself that question. Like I thought I locked. Like I thought I locked the door. She could have been thinking thinking that she locked the doors because, like I said from earlier on, somebody was given, or somebody just took a spare key. Somebody took a spare key and gave it to someone to then enter the home. Somebody was asked to make a spare key to enter her home. She left the spare key in front of her home. Somebody took the spare key. And that's why I thought I locked my door energy is coming from. With two men. One of those men, or both of those men, they're tied to an ex-partner that she had. They're tied to them. Right? So whereas he can get arrested, for not being present. He can get arrested for not being present in the home. He can just get arrested for just not being present. But there's two people that he is attached, 2 or 3 people, a woman and 2 men or 2 dudes. Like he could get arrested on their behalf. He can get arrested on their behalf. They can get arrested on his behalf. They can get arrested vice versa. They can get arrested on his behalf, vice versa. Right? It's like, I'll give you a really interesting example. This is like, sending out somebody to do some type of dirty work and being untouched, or just being untouched. So whatever it is. So yeah, it would make sense for the ex to be arrested. It would make sense for him to be arrested because he either knew or he did not know that people that he was attached to, like a partner, love partner, they did something. So then those people can then get arrested, or that person can get arrested. Like there's more than one person that should be arrested here. There's more than one person that should be arrested. Okay? All right, let's look for outcome. And the news isn't really giving those details. Like, they may not, I don't know, it can have something to do with privacy. The Magician card is here, right? The magician would be somebody making their way into her home and she's like confused, you know. But I get there wasn't time for her to think. So there wasn't time for her to think. Like, she didn't have time to really think about anything that was happening or that was going to happen to her like this. I mean, nobody really does when somebody's coming in and they're attacking somebody. Nobody has time to think about what's going to happen to them like that. But it's, the keys. Like, the keys are really important. Like, somebody making a spare key, she herself making a spare key, somebody taking the spare key, then giving it to someone, somebody being asked to make a copy or take the spare that she had in her home. But it has to do with trust. Like, a lot of it has to do with her trusting a house cleaner, possibly trusting some type of assistant that she had. Like, she could have had an assistant in her home. She could have had an assistant that, I keep getting this idea, like, an assistant felt betrayed, like a male assistant or a female assistant. They felt betrayed. They felt financially betrayed by her. They were sending her threats. They were talking to her house cleaner. They were asking the house cleaner to switch these keys. Make a copy of that key. Make a copy of that key. An assistant. The assistant was dealing with an ex that she had, or it's just an assistant, like it's somebody that she was working with, like a woman and a dude, or it's a guy that they know they were dealing with the husband or the ex-boyfriend, or they discussed something. They discussed something. They could have been wearing a mask, They could have been wearing masks, I don't feel like it's one person. There's a two of swords in the future. Let me do another outcome here, too. 2. It's more than one person. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 9 of Wands. And let me see, 5 of Swords will be her energy. 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands will be defending herself or trying. She could have fire on her chart, or like she could have been dealing with fire sign. I don't feel that heavily, but yeah, 9 of Wands would be her trying to defend herself. She could have been trying to run to the back of her home. She could have been trying to run. Period. 5 of Swords, 9 of Wands. Right? It's crazy. It is. It's crazy. It's sad as well. It's very sad. But the 2 of Swords, like, she could have been trying to contact. There's one part of this, she could have been trying to contact a locksmith. It could have been too late for her to contact a locksmith. I don't know if she contacted a locksmith and something happened there. That, I feel it happened days. Like, this is some, whatever she had going on her, it's happening days before her passing. Like, days before. Like, this is a 13. This death card is a 13. And they're saying she passed on the 4th. She was found dead on the 14th. So something could have happened on the 13th with the key, with the letter, with the envelope, with the mailbox, with the maid, with the coworker. She could have received a call. She could have gotten a call about something. She could have tried to contact, I would say children. She could have tried to contact her children. I don't know. Something's going on with the kids. She could have called the kids. She could have tried to call the children on the day before that happened to her. Or she called them and something happened. Or they, somebody, like, the kids probably couldn't come to the house. Like, the kids probably couldn't come for some reason. I don't know why. The kids, they weren't around. I don't know I don't know how old they are. Like, I know they're old. They look older. I don't know how old they are. I don't know if they're old enough to live alone, or they weren't living with her, or they just weren't there with her at that time. That's important to know. as well too, because like them living with her or not living with her is really important. Okay, she could have, I was with this idea of an argument. I don't know if she ended up arguing with one of her children. She could have been arguing with one of them or both of them about something. I don't know if they were living more. I don't know if they are old enough to live alone, or they visited her, or they were what do you call it? Or they could have been talking to her about money or needing money for something. You know, whatever it is that's going on there. That could have happened the day before, like she died. Like she had an interesting conversation with her children before she passed. Like she had a really interesting conversation with them about something. But it could be money related. I get what they needed. It's money related, and it also has something to do with what they needed, what the kids needed. So she could have had a conversation with like their father about what the kids needed. She could have had a conversation with their father about what they needed. One of these energies could be the father. I don't know. One of these energies could be shown up there like the dad to the children. She could have been talking to them about what the kids needed. She could have been asking for money. She could have needed some type of money for, or I don't know, like something really interesting. Or the kids were talking, the kids could have been talking to her about what the father needed. Something could have been going on really interesting with the father of the kids, like their past or the ex's past. Like that's why I'm looking at the 10 of Wands. Something's going on there that's really like there's a conversation that there's a conversation that she needed to revisit, or there's a conversation that someone needs to revisit, something like that, right? Or someone revisited a conversation. And something may have been weird about that. Like, I don't know. She could have had a really interesting conversation about finances with someone before she died. So it's the kids, or it's an ex-husband, or it's an ex-boyfriend. Like, she could have literally have been on the phone talking to them, or they were present. And I keep in this idea of an argument. Like, they were present at one point with her, like on the phone or in person, and they're arguing with her about finances. That's another element to this issue. Okay? But the reason why that's important is because like that could have happened on the 13th, like that conversation. Like I keep getting eerie. Like something may have been eerie about the way the conversation took place. And then the next day she died. Something about the conversation is important to how she passed, okay? Alright, that's Michelle Avan's reading. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about it, you know where to find me. Be well. May your spirit go with peace. Be well. Take care. Bye.